In our episode Revision 8, we will revise banking, otherwise financial institutions. So here we have the central bank or the Reserve Bank of India, under which function many commercial banks. The State Bank of India, the Indian Overseas Bank, Punjab National Bank are few examples of the commercial banks. Let's revise central bank. Central bank in India is called the Reserve Bank of India. It is an apex institution or an apex body. That means it is on the topmost and there is only one central bank. It controls the country's monetary policy. The RBI was established in 1935 and the RBI regulates country's commercial banks. The governor of the RBI is Shaktikanta Das. Now let's revise the functions of the RBI. What are the functions of the Reserve Bank of India? Now here what is very important to note is that each function of this bank comes as a separate question sometimes. Okay, so let's learn the functions of the RBI. The RBI is the sole authority for the issue of currency. When we did money, we learned that RBI issues currency, notes, and coins are by the government of India. So what is the advantage of being the sole authority? Sole authority means that's the only authority that can issue currency. It is that there will be an uniformity in the issue of the currency, and it will also have a direct control over the money supply, right? So there will be uniformity in the currency, and also it will have a direct control on the money supply. So these are the two benefits of being the sole authority for the issue of currency. The second function is banker to the government. Like we take care of the finances, the RBI takes care of the finances of the government. What are those requirements? It gives the same banking facilities to the government which the commercial banks gives to the general public. Like what? Maintaining balances, arranging and managing its funds, then giving loans to the government. Then it accepts receipts and make payments for the government. It collects taxes. Then it also manages the public debt, and most importantly, it acts as a financial advisor to the government. Then the third function is banker's bank. Banker's bank means, see, we have many commercial banks, no? So these commercial banks can take the help of the central bank. So it acts like the banker's bank. It holds the surplus cash reserves. We learnt the CRR, cash reserve ratio, isn't it? So it holds the surplus cash reserve ratios of the commercial banks. It gives loans to the commercial banks, like we take loans from the commercial banks take loan from the central bank. Then it also provides a large number of routine banking functions to the commercial banks. Like what? Like the check clearing, remittances, etc. Then it also acts like a supervisor and a regulator to the banking system. Like what? Licensing, branch expansion, liquidity of assets, amalgamation, that is merging of banks, which we have been listening to this quite often in the very recent times, the merger of banks that took place on 1st April 2020. So this is very important. What happened over here? Earlier we had 27 public sector banks, but now after the amalgamation we have only 12 public sector banks now. Okay, so in all what we can say is there are 6 merged banks and 6 independent banks, right? Then what is very important here in banker's bank is the lender of last resort. This usually comes as a very important question. This lender of last resort. What do we understand by this? It refers to the central bank of being ready to lend to banks when a bank is faced with unanticipated severe financial crisis. Then the RBI acts as the lender of last resort. If suppose the central bank refuses to extend this help, then the banks have to shut down, right? Now what happens is, when the banks are about to shut down, all the account holders will want to withdraw their deposits at the same time, and those banks will not have enough funds to satisfy the needs of every account holder. This situation is called as bank run. Bank run. The next one is controller of credit. What do we understand by this? It controls the credit by the commercial banks. So this kind of a thing gives an effective control on the economic activity. The RBI controls the money supply this way, and how? By bringing about this monetary policy. RBI brings out the monetary policy to control money supply in the economy. This is a 1-mark question. So monetary policy is brought out to control money supply. And who brings out the monetary policy? It is the RBI, right? So the tools of this monetary policy are the quantitative tools and the qualitative tools. Under quantitative tools, we learn cash reserve ratio. How does it bring the money supply under control? By changing the cash reserve ratio or the statutory liquidity ratio, the bank rate, repo rate, and the open market operations. And the qualitative tools include the margin requirement on loans and the moral suasion. How does this monetary policy control money supply in the economy? Quantitative and qualitative tools. So let's look at them. The CRR and the SLR. So when the CRR is increased, or when the rate is increased, then what happens? The money with the banks reduces, isn't it? When the credit ratio increases, the money that is kept with the banks reduces. When this reduces, there will be less money for giving loans to the general public. In that case, what happens? The money creation by the banks will reduce. When the money creation reduces, the money supply in the market also, or in the economy also, reduces. On the other hand, when the CRR or cash reserve ratio is reduced, when this ratio reduces, money with the banks will be enough to give as loans. So that means loans will become cheaper. So people will take loans. So this will increase money creation, because now banks can offer more loans. This will increase the money supply. If you remember, in money, we had done money creation. When the CRR is 20%, it increased the money supply by 5 times, created the money by 5 times, and when it was 25%, it was only 4 times. So when the credit creation increase, the credit ratio increases, there will be less money in the economy, right? So this is what we have to remember here. Now, bank rate. During recession, what the RBI does it will reduce the bank rate. Okay. So what is this bank rate? Bank rate is the rate of interest at which the central bank lends to the commercial banks for long-term purpose. So that what the RBI does it will reduce the bank rate, which will in turn reduce the lending rate of the commercial banks, isn't it? Because now they have less money with them because the bank rate is reduced. So what will happen? It will increase the credit creation. This means that there will be more money supply. On the other hand, when there is inflation, there will be an increase, or the RBI will increase the bank rate. Increase in bank rate means there will be the lending rate will also increase. When the lending rate increases, people will borrow less. So credit creation will be less and money supply will reduce. Then repo rate. What is repo rate? Repo rate or repurchase rate is the rate of interest at which central bank lends to commercial banks for their short-term requirements. If bank rate is for long-term purposes, repo rate will be for short term requirements. Okay, so an increase in repo rate will mean that there will be increase in the lending rate also. When lending rate increases, people will borrow less. That would mean that there will be reduction in the credit creation and fall in the money supply. On the other hand, when the repo rate is reduced, then what will happen? Commercial banks will also reduce their lending rates. When loans are available for a cheaper price, people will go for more loans. So credit creation will increase and hence the money supply will also increase. Then let's talk about the open market operations. These open market operations are done through checks. The buying and selling of securities of the government are done using checks. So when the RBI wants to control money supply, what it will do? It will sell securities. When securities are sold, people will buy with checks, using their checks. So this would reduce the reserves of the banks also, and this will in turn reduce the credit creation and hence reduction in money supply. On the other hand, when the RBI wants to purchase the securities, what will happen? The cash reserves will bank will increase, because once they are purchased, the checks will come and fall into the bank. So there will be more cash reserve ratio with the banks. This will increase the credit creation and also money supply in the economy. Finally, margin requirements on loans. What are these margin requirements on loans? Margin requirement on loans refers to the difference between the current market value of the security offered and the amount of loan granted by the banks. Okay, so an increase in the margin requirement forces the borrowers to secure less amount of funds from the banks. So what happens? This decreases the money supply in the economy. On the other hand, lowering of margin requirement enables the borrowers to secure larger amount of funds, and so it increases the money supply in the economy. How do we remember so many things? So here it is. Whenever the ratio is, rates are increased, see here, rate is increased, this leads to reduction in money supply. Bank rate increases, reduction in money supply. Repo rate increases, reduction in money supply. Okay, then you have here margin requirement is increased, reduction in money supply. So if you remember this, I think that will help us to remember when does the money supply increase and when does it decrease in the economy, and how this monetary policy works in the economy.